Good afternoon. We're here on October 30th, 2024, and we're going to do an oral history with Al and Nancy Bush. But first, I'm going to start with Al. I'm going to ask him some questions about his arrival here on on the island, on Guaymas. So, Al, what were your parents' name? Your parents?
Charles J. Bush Jr.
Yes. Oh,
and Vivian DeRocher Bush.
okay. So, where were they living before they came here?
Well, I was born in Seattle, lived there a year, went to Spokane for a year, and then went to Denver, Colorado. Then came back to Seattle, and then my folks decided they wanted my brother and I to have a beach experience.
Mm-hmm.
And we went looking all over the place, and Whidbey Island and every place. But my mom was an antique gal, and if you will remember that at the Old State Ferry dock, there were on the corners there were two antique shops.
It's where that blue house is now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, my mom went through the antiques there because my dad was coming up here. He was then we were then in Seattle, and they were in the process of building March's Point, and he was engineering and big and moving the Shell and Texaco people into the area.
Oh, okay.
And
Did he work for a moving company?
We worked for Beacons Moving and Storage.
Okay, okay.
And he dumped Mom off to do the antiquing because he didn't care about that stuff. But anyway, she saw the ferry going back and forth across there and landing on the dock and doing that sort of thing. And when she had some off time, and lo and behold, we came to Guaymas Island and found the house at Strom's. That's the old Strom's residence.
Where your house is now, facing west?
Well, no, it was down below us, where we are now.
Oh,
It's the White House, southwest of our house.
okay. That was the Strom house, is
Well,
it?
that whole property
Was
was
it
the
Strom's?
Strom's, yeah.
Okay.
That's where Bud Strom
Mm-hmm,
and Alice Brooks
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
lived.
How many acres was that?
Well, that was a 20-acre piece. But when we got there, they'd already divided up the beach,
Oh,
and they left a 100-foot piece there for the rest of the property.
and
I think it was total 16 acres.
that you got?
Yeah.
Okay. And was the house originally there?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
but as you progress through this, we bought the Gould property on Guaymas Island Road, and where the
Oh, right.
corral is now,
On
where there was
Guaymas.
a house there, and we moved that house to the beach,
Oh,
and that's where we first started.
oh, that's where you lived?
Yeah,
You and Nancy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cute.
yeah.
So you were at the beach?
Well, we had
Well, where Phil lives now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yes.
yeah, and that was, we lived in it and remodeled it, so we had a grand piano in the living room, which was a table saw.
Oh, those were good times though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
We were young and didn't know any better.
Yeah. Yeah, when did you get married? What year did you get married?
1965,
Oh, okay, okay. So you said you had a brother, right?
yeah,
And was he younger or older?
older.
Did he move, well, actually, let me ask one more question. How old were you when you moved to Guaymas?
16.
Oh, wow, okay. So did your older brother move to Guaymas too?
No,
Okay. Does he ever come here?
it's something we don't talk about much.
Okay, okay. All right. So, you moved here when you were 16.
Yeah,
How was that? Then you went, moving in high school, was that difficult?
very difficult because I came from Denver to Seattle in my junior year of high school,
Oh, boy.
and it was extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
If I
This was only a weekend place.
Yeah, this was a weekend place then at that time. But we'd come Friday and leave the last dog Sunday,
Oh, that's,
every
okay.
weekend.
So you graduated from high school in Seattle.
Yes,
What school?
Roosevelt.
Okay, I know right where you were. Okay, so your family was living in Seattle before Guaymas. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know what caught your dad's eye and Vivian's eye? Like what made it make it special for them?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. We didn't want any part of it
Oh, yeah.
because it was very definitely a remodel job because you could put a ball in the tennis ball in the front door and it'd beat you to the back door. It was a major job of
Yeah.
remodeling and
So when you came up, that's what you were working.
yeah, we worked hard. Dad had an accountant that was really good, and he liked my dad really well, and so he came out with him from Denver,
Oh, wow.
and he was a farm boy,
Oh,
and that's how we got involved with the cattle. My dad was always an animal lover of all kinds of chickens. He had chickens and ducks and
Rabbits.
rabbits, and the accountant got Dad interested in cows, and Dad said, "Why not? We got the place." And
now did the accountant live here too, on Guaymas?
no,
Okay, he just was sort of a friend in Seattle.
yeah, in Seattle.
Okay, so he ruled the roost. He
Yeah.
had all ideas for your dad and your mom to do.
We came across the ferry, and if you remember, it was really rough, and it was a 6-car ferry. Well, that ferry didn't go up over the waves; it went through.
Through?
And the water was window high,
Oh, boy.
and I was sitting in the car with him, and she had a hold of my knee. I thought she was going to squeeze it right off.
Oh, this is the accountant?
Yeah,
Okay.
the gal,
Yeah.
his wife,
What's that?
his wife.
Oh, his wife, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so they had a lot to do with you developing the Bush
Well,
Ranch.
They had we had. Mom wanted nothing to do with horns. Couldn't have a horned animal on because she was been around horned cattle and didn't like them. And so Dad went out to these auction barns at night and we bought the black cattle, no horns, and they shined. I mean, they were really
Pretty?
pretty cattle.
Were they
And
Angus?
Angus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, that developed into what we developed into.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive.
I went on to Washington State and when I graduated from high school, I went to Washington State and took animal science.
Wow. Isn't that something how we figure out the path we're going on?
Yeah, it's just kind of.
Yeah. If you
it's,
hadn't had the accountant, what was the accountant's name?
Ira Baugh.
Okay, if it hadn't been for Mr. Baugh,
Yeah.
you might not be where you are now.
Well, I don't know. Dad was an animal guy, and we would have had something.
Well, with the acreage, yeah. So you bought the Strom's place, and then you said you bought the Gould place.
Yes,
Okay.
afterwards, because we that was I don't know when that was. I can look it up, but I can't remember. It was after. I'm not sure.
It was after we got married, because you burned all these buildings, and there was a kitchen queen in there that I wanted.
Yeah, I can
It was
imagine.
worth a lot of money, and he put it on the fire. I was upset.
Okay, so that was after we got married, then that's when we got the Gould place. Well, we moved the house to the beach.
The Gould House to the
Yeah,
beach,
yeah.
yeah. So you came here when you were 16, and your first impression of it was
Well, you know, it was kind of interesting. We got started. I don't know how we ever met Horace Hamill,
mm-hmm,
but we met him, and he was an old race track jockey.
jockey, yeah.
And he and Dad hit it off really well.
Mm-hmm.
And
That wasn't easy to do.
yeah, and anyway, Horace had the horses, so we bought a horse,
Oh,
and then we bought another horse because my brother had one, and then I had one. So we rode horses all over the island,
that's something about you I didn't know.
up on the hill.
Yeah,
We went up before the Holiday Hideaway was there, or the whatever they call that now.
and there were Hamel horses.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And, well, the only thing about those is we weren't really horseback riders a lot, but we were young kids and we could hang on. But it was really interesting when we turned and started heading home, they knew we were going home.
And they went fast.
They went fast.
So how old were you when this was happening, when you were riding?
16, 17.
Okay, all right. So your brother was here for that.
Yeah.
And talk about the road on the west side of the island.
Oh, there was the road on the west side of the island wasn't South Shore Drive. It was out on the bluff.
Oh. Huh.
And we rode that all the way up to our place.
Oh, I bet that was beautiful.
Oh, yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah.
But there was parts where it started washing
A little
away.
sketchy
But there was actually 2 tracks there of a road
of
there.
the road.
Yeah, we rode that. That was neat.
Oh, do you have any pictures of that?
No,
Wouldn't that be fun?
yeah, it would be neat if
Yeah.
we had that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But it ended right down below us at the Edens Road.
Okay, right.
When
Then
you
where
go-
John and Barbara lived,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
there was a road in front
In
of
front
their
of them?
house.
Yeah,
When they
Did
lived,
it end there?
they lived,
Because that's kind of marshy in there.
no, it's onto the beach.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I know
the
that.
back of it is marshy.
Yeah, so it wasn't marshy. There was a little isthmus or something that
Yeah.
was solid.
And there was, as I remember, we rode on the beach quite a bit too. And nobody said anything. Of course, there wasn't anybody around then.
Right.
But there was 17 tide gates, wooden tide gates.
Tell us what a tide gate is.
Okay, a tide gate, well, it started at the end of our place,
Mhm.
and it went clear to probably past, well,
Morrison's.
oh yeah. No, it
No,
didn't
no,
go all
not that
way.
far.
Didn't go
Like
that
where Porter lived?
No, not that far. either.
Hoods.
Oh, okay.
Right there where old lady Crooks used to live.
Betty Crooks?
Not Betty.
Huh?
Not Betty.
Not Betty.
Well,
No.
anyway, there was 10 of them, so they were draining the pond.
They were draining
Yeah.
the swamp out from behind because it would wash in there. And that pond that's on the corner there,
Mhm, mhm.
that's all salt water.
Right, yeah, salt marsh.
And that's a controlled gate there.
Yeah, I think I've seen
It's right there by
Spars.
Spars.
the gate.
Yeah, there's a canal going
Yeah,
through there
yeah.
to the beach.
I have to take note of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the things that you raised, like when you moved here when you were 16, and so then you got right into animal husbandry. And so tell me what animals you raised.
Well, we had, we didn't have anything, we had rabbits and we had, Dad had some chickens and we had the cattle.
Five cattle.
Five head, I think it was,
When you were 16,
yeah.
yeah. And then,
And then, well, then I went to Washington State and got out of there, and I had as an advisor, my advisor at counselor or whatever you call him, he was head of the sheep science department. And he says, before you get out of here, you're taking my class.
oh, fun.
And I said, no, I'm not. I'm a cowboy, I'm not a shepherd. And they didn't mess.
Right. They don't mix.
Well, I took his class, and it was probably the best class I ever took,
Oh, wow.
because this guy was really thorough. And we went on field trips all over the place on to big ranches,
Mm-hmm.
sheep ranches. And one of them was really a big place. They had 6,500 ewes,
Oh, my gosh.
and they would send out. It was a Basque family, and they would send out with a wagon and a dog, and he was in charge of 500, and they'd ship them up into the mountains, into the Cascades
Mm-hmm. To eat?
for the summer.
Yeah, to eat.
Yeah, for summer pasture.
Wow.
And then we went out there when they had, when they were shearing sheep, and what an operation that was. They'd get them, they'd corral the sheep and put them upstairs, and then they'd run them down a chute and shear all the wool off and dump them out the other end. And I mean, it was really slick the
Yeah,
way they did
yeah,
it.
they had
But
it down.
We never did it that way. But
At your house, you had sheep though.
yeah, we had sheep. We ended up with 75 ewes.
Oh, my goodness,
Yeah.
Al.
And there was, I don't know whether we were, yeah, I think we were the first ones to get sheep on the island. And then Andy Troutman, Jack Schiller, he bought 250 head,
Of sheep, I don't
and they
know.
had them back of the schoolhouse up there.
Oh,
That whole back area was all Jack Schiller's, from Beals to the
road?
road to Williams Island Road, and then down to where not Martisich, but what's the first road, first cut in there? Larry Burbano.
Oh, okay.
That whole square there, he had that whole.
Oh, wow, that's,
Yeah.
how many
They
acres?
fenced it all in there and dumped the sheep in there. And we had a chore, because we all got together and we sheared sheep.
Together?
And that was a labor
That was
intensive.
That was a party, right?
Yeah, that wasn't a party, it was a heck of a workhorse, I'll tell you. Anyway,
Do you have pictures of that?
no,
Gosh,
no, I know, I wish I did.
yeah.
But we got out of that because the market left us. And we were shipping our wool to Portland, Oregon. We had to truck it down there ourselves.
Oh, boy.
So Trotman had a truck, and we got all the wool into that.
And what year was this?
Oh, that was after school, so, and it was after I got out of the service, so this has got to be 62, 63, 64, in that area.
Busy, busy.
Yeah, we got the sheep right away. When I got out of school,
Got out of high school.
out of
Out of
college.
WSU.
Yeah.
And they cleaned all the blackberry bushes around our place on the Edens
Yeah,
Road.
which is wonderful.
Oh, yes, I wish I had it.
Exactly, yeah.
We had blackbird as high as the ceiling.
And the sheep took care of it?
Well, they took care of it.
I didn't know sheep would do that. I knew goats would. I didn't know sheep
Well,
would.
sheep ate all the new shoots that come up and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
We went in there and cut it all down, and
Perfect. Yeah,
they
yeah.
ate it up.
Yeah, yeah. So you did sheep, and then you did bunnies, rabbits, and then you did chickens, and then you started off with a 5-head herd,
Yeah.
and then when did it get big?
Well, so after we got rid of the sheep, then we started going in, and of course we had kids, and all of a sudden they were up to an age where they wanted to do stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I hadn't done much with them. I was too busy working, and so we started a 4-H group.
That was a good time.
Well, I didn't want to do it, but I had to.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about tell me about your military experience.
Well, it wasn't much. It was, that time was a mandatory draft,
What years was it? What year was that?
1960.
There was a mandatory draft.
Yep.
It wasn't like they called your number up.
Yeah,
They called your number.
They
Okay.
called your number up.
Okay.
And I didn't want to wait till they called my number up, so I enlisted when I got out of college,
Okay. What branch?
Army.
What'd you do in the Army?
Well, I went to Fort Ord,
Oh, okay.
and then I ended up in Fort Bliss, Texas.
What'd you do? Were you a mechanic? Were you?
No, I was just a soldier.
Oh, you didn't get trained to be you didn't peel potatoes?
Yeah, peeled potatoes, worked in the kitchen,
You did.
caught hell all the time.
Oh, you did actually work in the kitchen.
Oh, we had to.
Oh,
It's a rotation.
a rotation.
Yeah, you had to do a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. So you got out of okay. So you were
Yeah.
you were at WSU, and so you went into the Army in 1960, and then did you just hang around and wait for him?
No,
No,
I was in California.
she wasn't even in
We
the
were-
picture then.
Oh, you didn't know each other at school.
Yes, we'd met our sophomore year at Washington State. And, we dated, but we had other things on our agenda.
Yeah.
And so I ended up teaching in California, and he came down there. He had an aunt and uncle that lived in Garden City, was it?
Yeah.
And I was in LA teaching, and so we started dating. We had a fraternity brother and a sorority sister who got us back together. I was supposed to get him off the rock. And guess who's been here for
Didn't work out that way, did it?
60 years almost,
So what year did you get married? 1965, you said?
1965.
Yeah.
Just yoga.
Okay. No. Anyway, so you got married in No, you probably came up here to get married
Yes.
because
Got married in
probably
Seattle,
you're from Washington too. Then,
Ballard area.
yeah. Where did you go to high school? Ballard.
Yes, that's
Ballard
where
High
I
School.
graduated.
Yeah, yeah. And so you graduated in
60.
19 what?
1960.
From high school?
No, not
No,
that.
no, 50.
56.
Yeah.
56.
Yeah, that's what yeah. Yeah, 'cause that didn't work. Okay, so you've been involved in a lot of organizations on the island. So I started thinking of some of them, and so I have 4-H written down. You were like the instigator of that for everyone. You were in the fire department,
Yes,
yeah,
How many years?
25 years.
25 years, wow.
And he became an EMT.
You were on the Perry Committee,
Yes.
still
he
going
was-
on?
Well, no, I'm not going on now. I've
Are you-
kinda stayed out of my son's life. He's on.
He's on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's wise.
Yeah.
You know, let it be his thing.
Let it be
Yeah.
his thing.
Yeah,
And I don't want to be an influence there or criticize what he's doing and that sort of thing.
mm-hmm. That's
But I
smart.
think he's doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he has a lot of, people
Yeah.
respect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. And then the Historical Society, you guys were part of the beginning of that.
I call it the Hysterical Society.
Right, you and Bud. Yeah, okay. Is there any other organizations I've missed?
He was the first president of the property owners.
Oh, that's right, property owners. Okay.
And they did that because it was part and parcel of the community center. And they didn't want to have politics.
Mm,
They wanted it to be social.
social.
So they started the property owners.
Well, that was when it was a potluck, and you'd go to dinner, and then you'd have the meeting afterwards, and it was upsetting people's digestive
Oh.
juices.
Oh, so that's why they changed it?
Yeah.
Was that the one that Howard Pellet was involved with too?
No.
That was-
Yes, it was.
He was involved with it, it was after.
Yes, but he was the first president.
Oh,
and then
okay.
Howard was the perennial president.
Okay.
And you were a trustee for the center because I remember one New Year's Eve, he went up to the dance because the floor of the center, the studs were too far apart, and
Oh.
so the floor was doing up and down, and he had to go and see how it lasted through the dance. You know, whether it was going to
Yeah.
make it through. And I remember Joanne Nelson asked him to dance. Well, he only dances once a year, and she used up my chance.
Darn her. That's good. That's good. Okay. So tell me your thoughts on the aluminum plant.
Oh, that was very divisive on the island. And all of this area east, from Greenwich Island Road east to the road that goes around, all those people were happy. They were gonna get their big money for their property and that sort of thing, and it was very divisive of the island. And there were two groups, and thank God we won.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a touch and go deal there for quite a while. They came to the community club all dressed up in suit and tie and put on a big show, and it was gonna be a good deal. And no way, because
Yeah.
I had some experience with some of the fellows in the cattle business in eastern Washington, that they'd had problems with it over there,
Oh,
and the fallout and on the pollution and
uh-huh,
all,
uh-huh.
and it poisoned some of the grasses and the trees.
So you were able to speak to that.
Yes.
That's
yes,
fabulous though.
yeah. But it didn't go.
Yeah.
And it went out of here and went down to on the Columbia River there around Astoria. And then they broke ground and did everything else, and then it just
Fizzled?
fizzled. Yeah,
Wow.
it did.
Yeah, yeah.
They spent a lot of money. But that wouldn't have been, thank gosh we didn't get that, because that would have been devastating for
Oh, yeah, it would
the
have,
island.
oh.
Yeah,
would never recover from something like
No,
that, just the
no.
pollution.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and John Ehrlichman was involved in that, so that's, John Ehrlichman was one of your lawyers.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, we have quite a few newspaper articles and stuff on
Okay.
that aluminum plant. Yeah, the realtors on the island were all for it, weren't they?
oh, shoot, yes, and Anacortes was too,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Everybody had dollar signs in their
yeah, they
eyes.
had dollar signs, you bet.
Well, anyway, well, thank you for speaking up. I'm sure you had something to do with it not happening.
That
That's
was
great.
a real fight, I'll tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a memorable moment in time on Guaymas that
Well-
could have changed everything.
We had some really good people here. My dad was one, and Ralph Davis, Stockton,
They were all against it.
Evan Nelson. I mean, they were really good and on top of it all the time,
How
and they
wonderful.
saved us.
Yeah, how wonderful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So that was a memorable event on Guaymas. And can you think of any other memorable events that you were, that sticks with you?
The store,
Okay, explain that, Nancy.
well, basically, if I can remember it right, when Anderson bought the property
Mhm.
and he proposed a store, which we needed, but there were a lot of people who did not want
Right.
any commercialism.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had to go to court,
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
yes. So that's basically one of the,
And then we had the nori thing on North Beach. You remember they wanted to put the
Oh.
Maury nets
Oh,
in
yes.
Right.
over the crab field, where,
Yeah.
where the,
it would have been, I don't know how many football fields,
yeah, it was crazy.
and
I'm-
you wouldn't have been able to crab.
No, well, either the commercial fishermen, I mean, you should see them out there now,
yeah.
this time of year. They
Yeah.
come twice a day. They come in the morning and do it, and they come at night, do it. And, I mean, that would have killed that business, so,
Yeah.
okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Then we want to talk about your ranch. Is there anything else you want to share that is not to do with your ranch?
I can think of.
Well,
Okay.
we did so much more socializing because I think we were cut off from the mainland, and the people that were here were willing to extend themselves.
Put some
and-
effort into it.
And we had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And I remember we also got Washington State Extension Service here. Linda Porter and I started going to the meetings in town, well, Mount Vernon,
uh-huh.
and then we would bring all the information here.
I remember you guys put that show on apples.
Yes.
I mean, we had tables and tables of different kinds of apples, and that was fantastic. I mean, it was really cool.
And we got a lot of women
Mhm.
involved, and living on the west side, Linda and I didn't know anybody up in the Holiday, but we got to know a lot of those ladies, and we did cookie exchanges, we did all the meetings, like I said, once a month. We'd bring the information back, and in those days, it was sewing with the new kinds of materials, so it was easy to
Mm-hmm.
show how to use the patterns and things of that sort. And we did a lot. Well, then both Linda and I went back to work, and Mary Bone became the president.
Oh,
But then she died, and
fell apart.
it fell apart.
Yeah, yeah. It's really disappointing that nobody is like, remember we did the Easter egg, I mean, they do
Yes.
the Easter egg, but they don't dye them anymore. Remember, I mean, that was a huge
Oh,
event
that
for the
was one
kids.
of
The kids loved it.
highlights.
Yeah, and the Halloween parties, and it seemed like we did a lot of stuff for the kids, and they don't seem to.
Yes, we had a whole carnival of games and everything.
Yeah.
I remember we'd take hay up there and we'd put pennies in it. The little kids could find the pennies.
Right, I remember that.
And we would play pin the tail on the donkey, and we,
Are you talking about the Halloween party?
yeah.
And remember, Pingree did the haunted house every year, and the kids, when they got older, they got to be part of it. When they were
Yes.
young, they got to go through it, but then they were really excited to be part of it. Yeah, it's sad that that's not happening
Yeah.
anymore.
We had apple bobbing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a cold.
That's okay.
Anyway, then the Christmas, we did a lot of things. Santa
Oh, we had
would
Santa,
come. But we also had once a month
the
the
Thursday,
Thursday dinners. And
Mhm.
I remember Joanne Nelson, she'd stop at Safeway and she'd get pistachio pudding, cottage cheese, and pineapple. And she'd mix it in the parking lot. She'd bring a dish from home in the morning, and then she'd bring it to the potluck.
oh. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, that's sad that that's gone away, I think. Anyway, I hope we have pictures of that. I hope somebody has pictures of some of those.
I think we've got Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That, what was that lady's name that brought, she used to work?
Allison.
Yes, she used to work for Fredericks, and she brought the old Easter egg, Easter bunny costume, and then Melita was it one year too. Yeah. So, is there any people on the island that you remember as being memorable that you'd like to highlight?
Oh, gosh. Gee whiz. There's a lot of people. I think Ralph Davis is one. I think he was a real asset here for a lot of things that involved the island. Evan Nelson
Mm-hmm.
was really good too. That's where your kids are.
That's where Matt and Brian bought, yeah.
Yeah. And
And Hattie Adams, she
Yeah.
had the strawberry fields
shit down
on
here.
South Beach, so we could go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, Horace Hamill was interesting. And his wife, Sadie, she was interesting.
Interesting.
And, oh, well, the school bus drivers,
Del
because
Tim?
my kids rode the bus, I'd hear all kinds of stories on that.
Who was the driver that lived down by Porter?
Del Tim. Wasn't it? Oh, I know who you mean.
I can't think.
Del,
No,
oh,
2 houses down from Linden, or maybe in the next house.
Oh.
What's his name? He started the big garden.
was that Kick?
No.
Kick Wagle? No? Yeah, I can see him, but I can't
I
think of his
can
name.
too.
I can
Can
see him,
too.
but he was a bus driver. And then Vengestorf's wife was
Yes.
a bus
Uh-huh.
driver.
And then there's Buck, who lived in that big, tall, white house right at the junction of South Shore Road and, well, it's right by
Sue's
Sue
studio,
Roberts' studio.
right across the street. Yeah, I don't remember him.
Well, he had a daughter, Patty, that was pretty close to Audrey's age, so we knew.
Yeah, but he drove the bus too.
Mhm. And then, of course, Benjesdorf,
I want to say Graham.
no,
I don't know.
can't think of his name, but it wasn't Graham.
It-
But he'd previously been a long haul, like a Greyhound bus
Oh,
driver,
oh.
so he fell into the school
Yeah,
bus driving
yeah.
really well.
But it's nothing like driving a bus with a bunch of kids yelling on the back.
Well, and then Thelma, she had certain rules. If you didn't
Yeah,
act
she
right,
She
you
was
got
tough.
kicked off.
She was
tough.
scary.
Yeah, she had control.
You be careful, or I'm going to give you sugar, and then she'd come and kiss you.
Oh, is that right?
And the boys did not like that.
Yeah, I think that's where my kids learned swear words for the first time. They learned a lot on that bus.
And
Did-
then Charlie Townsend,
Oh, yeah.
because he had the resort, and they had a full-size swimming pool, and we'd take our kids
Mhm.
there, just like, that's the last time that I did anything social with Mrs.
With
Shoemake.
Mimi? No, not Mimi, it was,
Shoemake and Linda.
oh, okay.
We'd go down there and take the kids.
We were there, I was there with my kids there too, swimming, and this guy who was renting from him, he got on the diving board and broke it. Oh my God, you should, Charlie. Oh, I mean, my kids' eyes were like, nobody, they'd never seen anybody be so, and he just yelled at this poor man. I mean, this man didn't, you know, he didn't deserve to be yelled at like he was. I mean, he was horrified anyway, you know, and then to be doubly embarrassed in front of all these people because it was the only thing happening, you know, the only pool. Yeah, yeah.
But we did a lot of socializing as couples.
Mhm.
I remember playing spoons with you at Linda's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, we should play spoons again. That was a lot of fun.
You know, I bought a game of spoons for our granddaughter.
And she doesn't get it?
Well, it had plastic spoons, let's put it that way. We gouged Linda's table.
But I remember one of us, somebody learned how to bump it, they'd always get a spoon. I don't remember who that was, probably Bud, actually.
But we did a lot of things, and you know, Linda was memorable with her T-shirts and the parties that she threw, and no matter who, because I still see a couple that have moved off the island. They go to Arizona, and that's where we see them. But she had a party, and Linda had a party, and she said, bring somebody that we don't know.
Oh, fun.
And that's when I took Donna there, and she remembers that
Oh,
so well.
yeah, yeah. No, she had a good heart.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, she went too soon.
yeah.
She really did. Yeah.
And I think it's in the genes, because her mother died of cancer
Mhm,
too.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I think yeah. So what I'd like you to do is you could share a little bit about your ranch story. Um,
I'll lift up.
yeah, I don't know if I can, well, I can, let's see.
Well, you can pick them up one at a time and put them up here where you can get a picture of them.
Okay, okay.
What are you doing, Ness?
This one's there it is.
Oh. Oh, good,
Can
no.
you get that?
You have to stand it up.
Oh, I got it, I
She
got it.
can't
I
get
can
it.
tip
Will
it.
you?
You have to talk.
I got it, I got it.
You have to talk.
I don't have to talk.
Yeah, tell me about the sign. What did you use the sign
Well, we
for?
use this sign for the, we would have a booth or a certain spot in the barn that we would have dedicated to our cattle. And so we'd hang this in the middle of our slot and to advertise our name so that we could, you know, sell cattle. We were in the purebred cattle business. We had purebred Angus cattle.
Okay,
And this was just our logo and to get our name around.
yeah, well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We'd hang the ribbons that we
Yeah,
would-
tell me about the ribbon.
Oh,
We have a whole wall full of these. And this is from Spokane. Spokane National Stock Show. And we got first prize.
Oh, that's pretty
Al
fancy.
was thinking that it was for a bowl that we had. But we have a whole wall above the closet door. So,
Nice. Okay, what about the plaque right in front of you?
all right, Al, you tell me.
oh, okay. What I probably should do is start from the beginning and then not
Okay,
go through all of this.
yeah, that'd be great.
I,
And I can set this down.
we started in the cattle business when I got out of the service and we had sheep. And then we went to more cattle and we started going to sales and buying more. And then we got involved with a fellow that I know real well and has been a really good buddy, Harold Catlin, lives over in the valley now. And he's kind of out of the business too. He's retarded, I call it. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. Well, anyway, we started getting more and more cattle all the time, and then raising some, and then he was involved with All West Select Sires, and that's how we got involved in getting better cattle doing everything, because in 1970 I started doing artificial insemination. And we did that, and we followed the book really close with that, and we saw a real definite progression. And our cattle started getting better and better, and of course, we got a whole wall full of the ribbons and all, because the kids were showing cattle at that time and getting our name out there. And it just kind of flowed together.
Oh, nice.
Well, then all of a sudden, in the 80s, the cattle market went flat. And
Oh.
we were having trouble. And so I started going to the county cattlemen's meetings, which meant I had to go to town and have to stay in town to do it, because it was,
6:30, Barry.
yeah. So from there I went, I started going to the county meetings, and then we'd every once in a while get a state guy to come. Well, they got me involved to go to the state meetings. And so I didn't want to do that, but I thought, well, okay, there's not very many cattlemen on this side of the mountains. Most of them are over there. And so to have somebody from this side and tell you that they want you over there, I mean, it you know, kind of boosts you up a little bit.
Sure.
But it was tough to do because of island living and getting there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
doing this and that and everything else. Well, next thing you know, I'm on the board for the Washington Cattle Association. And I was a councilman for a year. And then, next thing you know, I'm a second vice president. And I was this is a plaque here for,
Show it.
I was 3 years on the board.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, that's, you,
It took a lot of time. And it was one of these deals where they had a problem in Eastern Washington. They'd get on the phone, Bush, we need you in Olympia. So I was going back and forth to Olympia all the time.
yeah, that's hard.
And it was tough. And so finally I just said, no, that's enough, I've had enough. And in 1989, I think I got out of it,
Oh, boy.
going to the,
Yeah, the meetings.
To the
Being
meetings.
responsible too, you know.
it was, but I met a lot of really nice people and a lot of nice families, and it was a real good experience for me in getting around to the political end of things and going and talking to, I didn't go talk to my representative or the representatives at all. I got to know the
Secretary.
secretaries and the lobbyists, and that's where I got more stuff done.
More power.
Oh, I got a lot of stuff done that way. I go talk to, one of the guys was, no, I probably should shut the camera off now, but, was,
Our governor.
our governor. He was, head of the Land Planning and Ecology Committee in Olympia. What a jerk.
Oh,
Not good.
yeah.
And he didn't know what was going on. He'd never had a job in his life. He'd been a politician all his life, and just, it was not good. And so I
But
could
Bed would say judges who've never been a lawyer,
yeah,
you know,
well,
yeah,
okay,
that kind
yeah.
of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, it's heartbreaking to see something like that. Now he's the governor of our state, and I mean,
Oh,
how did he get there?
yeah,
Just because he's got a name recognition and that kind of stuff,
that'll do it.
there's no background there at all. And I don't know, haven't followed him enough since, but I don't know what results he ever got out of anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just a figurehead. But anyway, we got back into that, and we got more cattle. When you go back and regress a little bit, when the aluminum plant was here, when we run that battle, Sal Werner bought the Beesner farm,
Okay,
And, at that time, we needed more room.
And you've got a picture of that, don't you?
Yes.
Where that is. Let me, I mean, it's running, so I can.
Oh, that's not that one.
It's this one.
Yes.
Okay, here, I'm gonna just,
Okay, put it
well, I
there.
gotta kind of put it in front of you guys to get the picture. So,
Okay.
so,
Put it
how about
on.
if I hold it and you look, or Nancy, can you point where the Wiesner farm was?
It's here.
And that's where they were gonna
the
put
lines.
and that's where they were gonna put the
And that's
aluminum?
250 acres that we rented, and we hated
Oh,
lots of hay, and I remember I learned how to drive the
Drive the
tractor
tractor.
to rake into windrows so Al could come home and put it into bales. We spent a lot of time there, and son Alan even drove the truck at 4 years of age. He'd stick him on a
I got-
box.
I had him on
Hey,
a,
Alan, you can do it.
yeah, I had him on a box, get rid of this thing. Anyway, I had him on a box, and, I just told him to stay away from the fence. And, that's how we fed cattle down there. We had cattle down there, and we had cattle at home, and then cattle at the farm too,
Oh, well,
so,
let's see that picture.
yeah.
Okay, and this is along Guimas Island Road. And these are our green barns that you see, and these are our fields. And so we had
This
three
is
places,
1988.
yes. We had three places that we worked.
Oh my
The valley,
Yeah.
this, which we called the farm, and then at home. We had how many acres? 20? No, a little less than 20.
So we had 65 acres that we owned, and then we leased another 250
Boy,
from
So
the,
we were busy.
you were busy.
yeah.
Okay, tell us about this picture.
All right, after our son graduated in graphics at Washington State, then he went back to Missouri, and he began work with the Angus Journal, which is a national magazine. And somebody heard about our ranch, probably through him, and came out and wrote an article about rural life. And this is from the magazine. It's negatives by color, and it's all overlaid itself, so it's a little blurry, but it's a story of what people were going through economically and physically.
And physically. Yeah.
So anyway, Alan brought this home when he was working at the magazine, and so we have it framed. You have to keep it out of the light. So it's in the hallway, so people don't see it very often. And we've had several newspaper articles, and people were interested in farmers because you don't read too many
Right.
on this side of the mountains.
Yeah. And now the small farmers are getting edged out too with the
Yeah.
big
That's right.
corporations.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They're
And
actually
we
gone.
had a stockyard in Marysville, which is no longer anymore. We do have one up in Everson. So there's a lot of people, probably the biggest herds on this side of the mountain are about 12 head. And so
I
we
wouldn't,
had a little bit more than that.
I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
Oh, I don't know, I have no idea,
Well, I
because,
remember that from someplace, because the cattle, Washington State Cattlemen's Association has a convention every year, and actually it's next weekend in Wenatchee.
Oh.
And so we meet, and they have all kinds of workshops to go through.
That's fun.
And they started the beef checkoff, which means that after you buy your pounds of hamburgers, a little bit of the mountain money from each pound goes to this checkoff, and they use that for advertising for cattle, things of that sort. Oh, there's a lot of issues. Well, when there was a big fire in Antioch, is it Antioch?
Yeah,
Al went over there
Over there.
because the Bureau of Land Management invited he as a representative of Washington Cattlemen, and then there was couple senators and people from Bureau of Land Management, and they were all invited after the fire to show what happens. Do you want to continue the
yeah,
story
I
from
can
there?
continue that. We started, I was, it was when I was on the board and nobody else could come and I was the closest one to it, so Bush go. So that's what I did. And we were the first ones in. It was really, really, really a neat experience to see this. Because the people that were there could tell you where the fire was coming from and everything else just by the burn on the trees.
Oh, boy,
And it was,
education.
but it was almost like being in another world, because there wasn't a chirp of a bird, there wasn't anything. It was just, you were walking through some places.
What year was this?
Oh, gosh, I can't remember now. It's gotta be in the late eighties.
Late 80s,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, they had, I mean, you could see where the humps were, those were the dead cattle.
Ooh,
Yeah. I mean, you didn't see them because there was so much ash.
there was just,
I mean, there was 2 feet of ash on the ground. We were the first people in after the fire. We went all through that place, spent a whole day over there.
did you have a hazmat suit on?
No, no. But it was all safe going, and there was a lot of people around, and if you did get in trouble, there was somebody there to help you out. But
You
It
said
was-
it was so quiet.
it was so quiet
Oh,
that there was, I mean, it was like you were in another world, and everything around you was just scorched. It was
Hard.
several.
Talk about the glasses, the pink glasses. You could tell, they had these rose-colored glasses.
Oh, no, okay, rose-colored glasses,
Yeah.
they weren't pink. Anyway, they were rose-colored glasses, and you could look through those glasses, they passed them around, and you could look at a tree, and you'd say, well, that one's dead, but if you could, if a third of the tree was green, and these glasses would actually light up the stuff that looked like it was dead,
yeah,
if a third of it was green, it had survived.
wow.
And so you could look around, and they were passing those glasses around, everybody was taking a look at them and all the time. It was kind of neat
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
that. But not to see any birds or wildlife or anything around when you were walking through that. It was just the eeriest thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, boy,
It was
what an
and then
experience.
you'd see these big humps, and you know those were dead cattle.
Oh.
But
How horrific.
But the thing that is, you know, the environment has and some of these environmentalists just give me a pain,
Oh,
because they're, oh, we don't want cattle in here, we don't want this and that. But the cattle actually saved the forest. Where the cattle were grazing and where they had cattle in there,
they didn't have all
There was a
the
lot
dry
more
stuff.
trees.
Yeah, they didn't have all the dry
yeah,
stuff. That would,
they cleaned up the ground.
yeah, yeah.
And so that's one of the best things that you could ever have is a open range where they can go graze.
Yeah,
And that's what happened with the sheep and that sort of thing. They put them on federal lands to
clean up the
actually
underbrush.
do a better job of forest
Because
management.
they do those controlled burns,
Yeah.
but it's nice, I mean, why not do it this way?
Yeah, do it the natural way and put a lot of cattle in there and get out that brush. Yeah, they nibble on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I see you have some notes there. Is there something you want to share that?
Well, this was from when we gave a talk. The one thing that I remember quite a bit was, if you go to butcher shop, you see these recipes from the National Beef Council or Cattlemen, and we had a beef cook-off.
Oh,
And a lot of people would go and we would have a state contest, and I remember going and keeping the judges away from the participants. And so I got to know a little bit more on the inside of all this. Well, then we had the state contest, and it was at the Red Lion in Bellevue. And Al had to go to the airport and pick up some comedians, some artists,
big deal.
things of that sort. And he says it was so interesting because you go to the airport and here were all these big cowboy hats and boots, which you didn't see that many of.
Not here, we're not in
here,
Texas.
But maybe Texas.
Yeah.
But we had National Beef Cook-Off, and so have a lot of recipes from that. And well, years ago we used to have end of summer, and we would do Korean cut ribs.
Oh, I remember
But now
those.
you can't find anybody to prepare them, much less we had to make our own marinade.
Well-
And that was hard to find.
Well, I remember Alan gave us the recipe while you were gone and you got back for one of the cookbooks. Al was so mad at Alan because he gave us the recipe. We have the recipe, I think it's in the first cookbook, the Salmon Classics 1.
In, of the.
Of the Korean?
Korean cut ribs?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. But we had them at your house, like at picnics. You know,
Oh,
we'd
those
serve
are
'em.
so good.
Yeah.
We
And you
used to
get,
do it at the end of summer quite often.
Hmm.
we had 100 people at one time at the house. And
I was probably there.
that's all I did. I didn't meet any of the people. All I did was cook.
So it happens.
And taste, you know, and
I
we did
didn't
that, they
taste
have
much.
winter school over at Burlington High School, and all the farmers would come, and speakers would come from Washington State or elsewhere, and the fellows would do the beef, and the wives would do the potato salad, the beans and everything, and we were very careful. We had a food inspector come
Oh,
and
sure.
put the
Oh, yeah.
thermometer in the beans and make sure, it's just like, you know, we used to do that for the salmon dinners down at the center. Well, I used to go around and ask who's gonna bring salad for all the neighbors, or who's gonna make the pie. Well, soon you had to go along with the health board because you couldn't have any cream pies.
Right.
You had to be careful
The
of the
potato
dressing.
salad, you can use potato salad with
And so
mayonnaise in it.
things
and stuff.
changed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember anybody getting sick, at all those barbecues.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And we had big ones here.
We did,
Yeah.
we did. It's cute. For the new cookbook that we have for the Historical Society, Wynn Anderson had done a recipe for 600 people. So, like, if you find it's it's in the seafood area, but it's like he's pretty funny, and I think you're mentioned in it. It's pretty cute. I just copied it, put it in the book
Yeah.
because it was cool.
That was neat, but I remember Al and a lot of the firemen, they were just walking around with the reddest eyes.
Oh,
'cause
I
of the
know, and all that
smoke
smoke.
and Things of that sort. It was a good occasion, and then the window in the kitchen, that's where you handed the cooked salmon in, and then
It was all
people
fun.
were inside.
Things have changed. There's so many
Yes.
regulations now.
Oh, it's terrible. It really is.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
it
know.
got by so easy before.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, anyway, I don't think anybody ever got sick.
No, I've never heard. I think we would have heard too
Yeah,
if somebody did. So.
yeah,
Well, I don't think we have enough pictures of that, of all those good times,
no.
unfortunately.
Well, I found another stash, so I'll keep looking.
Okay, good for you. Oh, gosh. That's something I should be doing, but I haven't. Yeah. Okay, is there anything else you guys would like to share?
No?
Are you all shared out?
Well, no, we went on and we got up to probably about 100 cows.
Okay.
And then we had a bad experience, this is why we don't have any cattle on the place now, because I got cancer.
Oh,
And first thing I thought about is cattle, and I've got to take care
Who's
of
gonna-
those. If I got sick and couldn't do it, she'd have to handle it all, and so I got rid of all the cows.
you
Was it-
cut back.
I cut them all back.
Oh, you did.
One
Sold them.
Easter, we had a big truck come and loaded everything in it.
What year was that?
90?
Yeah,
91?
yeah.
90?
Really?
90,
Was it that long ago? I remember when you got the diagnosis.
yeah. It was, well, I had the operation in 1995, so it's probably, somewhere in there, 1995. Anyway,
Well, now you have cows come and spend the summer. They come to summer
we
camp.
call it Happy Cow Summer Camp. That's
Is that what you call it?
Alan, Alan's name, Happy Cow Summer Camp.
Yeah,
They just lease our pasture.
right. It's perfect
Well, and it helps us to
With-
keep our place up and,
with taxes,
keep
The
the,
fire down.
keep all of the,
bushes, the brambles and all that. Because like when we had cows, behind our house,
Yeah.
it was great. And now
Yeah.
it's all brambly.
yeah, it grows up fast.
Yeah.
And the cattle, what they don't eat, they trample down and they make trails and open stuff up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's very good.
Yeah, the horses do a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
they're not that efficient. But it's a difference because, what our fields look like now than they did before,
Yeah.
before I got the
Yeah,
horses.
Yeah,
Because we got out of the cow, I think the most we ever had was like 12 or 13 was the most we had. And then we had 2 awful birthing experiences.
Oh.
Well, maybe it was just one. And that was it for us,
that was it.
Yeah. I
Oh,
said, we
that's too
can't,
bad.
oh, God,
You
yeah.
should have called me, I would have taken care of it for you.
I don't know. He called Glenn.
Closer in age.
Yeah. And we were going someplace and it was just like a big mess. It was a big mess. And we got back and I just felt so bad for the cow. The baby died and it was just awful. Anyway. I'm gonna mark that out.
Beautiful. Well, we did quite a bit of our own veterinary work, and we had the Doc Anderson from town.
Oh,
I'd-
really?
I'd go over, he was the neatest guy.
Yes.
And I'd go over and get him in the boat at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
And
It's an
he
adventure.
was there, and he always came, and we checked, Fred checked the cows in the fall, and did that every year. And he was right there all the time, and just the best guy.
Yeah, and he's still practicing it. He doesn't do large animals,
That'd
but
be
he,
large animals.
I think he still works.
Yes, yeah. And I think Susie
Works for him still.
still
Susie Everett?
goes over there.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Anything else you'd like to share, Nancy?
No.
No? Okay.
Can't think of anything right now because we've been doing all our memory work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your story. And I have a form for you to fill out. So thank you.
Okay.